was a baking hot summer on the island of Sodor. The sun was shining brightly. James and Toby were taking children to the seaside. It was a wonderful job. All the engines liked seeing the children's happy faces, and they loved hearing them cheer when they saw the sea. Thomas wished he was taking children to the seaside, but Thomas was taking a big tank of raspberry syrup to the ice cream factory. Down on the beach, it was very hot, and the ice cream lady had run out of ice cream. So when Thomas arrived at the ice cream factory, the factory manager was waiting for him. "We have to make lots more ice cream," he cried. "You must go and get the cream, the chocolate, and the strawberries." Thomas loved seeing the children laugh and cheer. Sir Topham Hatt was waiting with the children. "Today you have worked extra hard," said Sir Topham Hatt. "You are a really useful engine." "Delivering ice cream is a fun job after all," puffed Thomas. He was very happy.